Oslo, the capital of one of the world's wealthiest democracies, is once again preparing for a national reckoning. But this time, the political winds feel different. As Norwegians head to the polls on September 7th and 8th, one figure has captured the spotlight with a mix of strategic timing, sharp rhetoric and unapologetic populism. Sylvi Listhaug, leader of the Progress Party, is making her final campaign push. And it's more than just a sprint to the finish line. It's a full-force bid to reshape Norway's political future. The Progress Party, known in Norway as Fremskrittspartiet, has long played the role of the political outsider. Right-wing, nationalist and outspoken, it has built a reputation over the years as the anti-elite, anti-establishment alternative. But this year, something is different. In a stunning shift, the party has overtaken the more traditional Conservative Party in several national polls. The mood in Oslo and in many parts of the country is changing. Listhaug's campaign strategy is personal and deliberate. On the ground, she's face-to-face with voters from suburban Oslo to rural outposts, shaking hands, taking selfies and answering questions with a directness that resonates. She speaks to the people who feel left behind by urban politics and disconnected from Norway's political consensus. But behind the charm and grassroots energy lies a platform with serious implications. The Progress Party has built its resurgence around a series of promises: tougher immigration controls, lower taxes, and a radical rethink of Norway's welfare state. It's a message designed to appeal to those who feel that the system as it stands no longer serves them. Sylvi Listhaug herself is no newcomer. A former Minister of Agriculture, Immigration and Justice, she has weathered political storms, survived cabinet reshuffles, and emerged as a powerful figure in Norwegian politics. Known for her straight-talking style and controversial statements, she is loved and loathed in equal measure. But her appeal has never been broader than it is today. Central to her message is national security, both economic and military. While Norway is not a member of the European Union, it remains deeply tied to the continent's economy. In Listhaug's view, that balance must be recalibrated. She supports close cooperation with the EU, the United States and the UK, but insists on preserving Norwegian sovereignty. NATO, she says, remains Norway's cornerstone for defence, especially in the face of ongoing instability in Eastern Europe. Her stance on the Ukraine conflict reflects a tightrope walk: full support for Ukraine and Western alliances, but a cautious eye on the extent of Norway's financial commitments. In a small country of just over 5 million people, every policy feels personal and every budget cut visible. But it's her economic pitch that's perhaps the most transformative and divisive. Listhaug argues that Norway's current fiscal model punishes success. Entrepreneurs, job creators and high earners are increasingly relocating to Switzerland, Sweden and beyond, driven away, she says, by uncompetitive tax rates and bureaucratic inefficiencies. Her proposed solution: deep tax cuts, leaner government and a pro-business agenda aimed at keeping capital and innovation inside Norwegian borders. She calls it economic realism. Critics call it a threat to the nation's long-standing social safety net. Yet the Progress Party's resurgence is not just about policy, it's about mood. Across Europe, populist, nationalist parties are gaining ground by tapping into a sense of cultural displacement and economic uncertainty. From Sweden to Italy, from Hungary to the Netherlands, the political centre is being squeezed. And Norway, despite its wealth and stability, is not immune. Immigration remains one of the most polarising issues in Norwegian politics. Listhaug has made it a cornerstone of her campaign, calling for stricter border controls, limits on asylum seekers, and policies that she says prioritise integration and national identity. Opponents accuse her of fanning xenophobia. But for many Norwegians, her message hits home, especially in areas where cultural shifts are felt more acutely than in cosmopolitan Oslo. The Progress Party's approach blends economic nationalism with cultural conservatism, a potent formula in the current political climate. And it's a message that's increasingly finding traction among young voters, particularly those outside of urban centres. For them, Listhaug represents something rare in contemporary politics, a figure who speaks plainly and doesn't back down. Media management has also played a crucial role in the Progress Party's rise. Listhaug has mastered the art of modern campaigning, combining social media outreach with strategic use of traditional outlets. Her interviews with major outlets like VG and Finland's Yle are carefully choreographed, but she's equally adept at going directly to her base, bypassing gatekeepers and shaping her own narrative. For supporters, this is authenticity. For critics, it's political theatre. But in an age of political cynicism, her message lands. It's emotional, it's accessible, and above all, it's clear. Still, clarity does not equal consensus. Norway remains a deeply divided political landscape. On the left, there is growing alarm at what Listhaug's rise could mean for issues like climate policy, gender equality, and international cooperation. On the right, even some conservatives worry about the potential volatility of a Progress Party-led coalition. That coalition question remains central. Listhaug has stated repeatedly that she is open to governing with the Conservatives, but only if her party holds significant sway. In her view, the largest party should choose the Prime Minister, but coalition negotiations will shape the final outcome. That means every vote counts. And in this final stretch, Listhaug and her team are working around the clock, holding town halls, meeting with business leaders and mobilising voters in what they describe as a fight to restore control to the Norwegian people. For Progress Party loyalists, this is not just another election. It's a referendum on the past decade of Norwegian politics, a decade they believe has been dominated by political correctness, spiralling public spending and policies disconnected from ordinary life. But for others, it's a moment of caution. They warn that the kind of change Listhaug promises could fracture the very foundations of Norway's social contract, undermining the safety nets and international commitments that have defined the country for generations. The stakes are high, and Listhaug knows it. This is a campaign about more than votes. It's about values, it's about identity, and it's about the direction of one of Europe's most stable democracies in a world increasingly defined by disruption. As voters head to the ballot box, they'll be making a choice, not just between parties, but between visions of Norway's future. Will the country double down on its welfare model and internationalist values, or will it pivot toward nationalism, austerity, and sovereignty? That choice lies with the people, and Sylvi Listhaug is betting that this time they're ready for a new direction.
Ja, bare hyggelig. Ja, vi håper på. Nei. Takk for sist.
Ja, veldig bra. Får vi bilder fra franske også. Det som er bekymringsfullt er all nitrogen som var i fjor. Det er det som da gir næring til luften.
Ja, men så er det dette med at det er noe sånne tabletter.
Takk skal du ha, takk skal du ha.
Det er meget venstre. Det vet jeg. Bygning eller det er produksjonsbestyr. Da skal i hvert fall jeg jobbe for å løse det, så på et flertall. Ukraine, we are all supporting the Ukraine and the way that the Norwegian governments do this and how much we give and everything. And so I think that it's important for Norway to also remember that we are a small country. We need to have good cooperation with the EU, with the United States, with the UK, and NATO is of course the most important for us when it comes to security. We want Fremskrittspartiet and the Conservative Party to go into government, and we have said for 1.5 years that it's the natural thing to do is to have the biggest party to have the Prime Minister. But of course we have to have a majority now, and then we can negotiate, and that's what we are working for these last hours. We have to start spending our money differently. We have to run this country in a better way. and we need to have down our taxes, because we see that some of the Norwegians that are really creating a lot of jobs are successful businessmen. They are moving to Switzerland, to Sweden, and this is not sustainable for Norway. We need people here to create jobs, and then you have to have less taxes.